Good morning from Prescott, Arizona, where it's going to be a little windy today. I hope that doesn't interfere with the sound, and I apologize in advance if it does. Hi, my name is Karen, and I'm the hostess of Recreational Knitting. I'm originally from Baltimore, Maryland. Currently live in Florida, South Florida, but since December 2019, we've been living in an RV. Didn't intend to do that, but that's how it occurred since we had COVID. Currently, I'm in Prescott, Arizona, and it's a beautiful 60-something here today, and I have a long sleeve t-shirt, and I'm a little chilly because of the wind. This is a beautiful national forest campground that we're in, and I may get to take you on a little tour later, but right now we're going to talk knitting. You can find me on Instagram as Recreational Knitting. You can find me on Ravelry as Sampler Gal, and of course YouTube as Recreational Knitting. Welcome to my channel if this is the first time that you've been here. Thank you for coming back. If this is not your first time here, I really am glad. I'm trying to get up to 100 viewers and have a giveaway for you. I have some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sock yarn that I'd love to give away to somebody. So let's try to get enough subscribers to get that giveaway going. In the meantime, what am I wearing that's knitted? Well, I currently have some shorty socks on, but I'm not able to get my foot up to show you. You'll just have to believe that one. And I have a hat that I just kind of whipped up. I had some Malabrigo yarn, and it's no particular pattern. 1x1 rib. And that's what the top of the hat looks like. I love this yarn. I don't know what kind of Malabrigo it is, but it's beautiful. I had it in my stash. I had made something out of it earlier, and I lost the tag, so I can't tell you the color, or I know that it's a worsted weight and it's plied, so I wish I had more information on that. I made my daughter a hat with this as part of the trim, and I had lots of it left over. So one evening I just whipped up this hat. Not that I really need another hat. Who among us does? So that's my finished object. I have one. Yay. I thought I might have more because I have been sitting more than usual this week. I've injured my knee somehow, got a cortisone shot, which has helped a bit. So I guess the next step is PT if this doesn't seem to get much better. Haven't been doing a whole lot of walking, been doing a whole lot of sitting and knitting, as you'll see. So this is the only thing that's in the can. What can I do? What can I say? So we're going to look at what's on the needles. I had started last week a sock, a shorty sock. Not sure who they're going to be for. I have to decide very quickly, because if it's for my daughter, I need to start decreasing for the toe. This is made out of nature spun sock, fingering weight, and the color is peacock plumage. And this is the Rose City Rollers pattern. Oh, I said it right. I usually want to say Bay City rollers. This is a free pattern on Ravelry. I like the pattern. She gives you lots of detail on how and what you're doing while you're knitting. So I was here last week and I've only knit maybe 1.5 inches on them. Just wasn't in the mood, basically, to knit socks. But my daughter has a very short foot, and if I'm making these for her, I'm gonna have to start decreasing. I'm doing these on size 1 zing, just because that was what I had available. And again, it's Nature Spun, which is brown sheep wool company out of Nebraska. Love it. It's last week I said it was ugly. Now that it's in the sun, I really kind of like it. So that's one thing I've worked on this week. My yellow sweater, which is made with the wonderful sheepy yarn of Swan's Island. This is their sport weight. It's 100% Rambouillet, which is lovely to work with and smells so sheepy. This is called Ochre. If you go on their website, which is swansislandcompany.com, I think. Don't hold me to that. I've made a bit of progress on Sleeve Island. I was here last week, so I've knit about 2 inches, I guess, something like that. Sleeves are my least favorite thing on the planet to knit. That still holds true. Even though one of you, and I think it was Valerie, told me to get a longer magic loop needle, which I think helps. It's certainly better than DPNs for me, but that's just me. So I've got a little bit of a sleeve done. So I'll be working on this for a while. It's been a little cooler up here in the mountains. We're at about 5,200 feet above sea level. So it's a little bit warm. I can work on it in the evening a little bit. So made a little progress there. My other sweater that I'm working on, again, is just a simple raglan. I don't think I even have a pattern any longer for a raglan sweater. Those of you didn't see last time, I got one finished sleeve, and I've made some progress on the second sleeve. This is where I was last week, so I've knit about maybe 3 inches or so, 3.5 inches. So this is made out of BioBalance, which is made by BC Garn. I love this yarn. It's organic, cotton and wool, 55% wool, 45% organic cotton. The fabric is wonderful. They label it as fingering to decay. I think it's really a sport weight, what I'm feeling, and I had purchased some and it came last week. And it's no different than this. I mean, it's very, it's not a, it's a corporation run yarn, spun yarn. So it's going to be pretty standard, but I really think it works up as a sport weight myself. That's just me. I really love this yarn. The color, the way it works up, it's just, and being from Florida, I need something a little lighter. The Swan's Island sweater is going to be, in a shelf in a bag until we go north in the winter. So I won't be wearing that very often. But I've made progress, and that's what I wanted to do. I really have no need to, since spring and summer are coming, I really have no urgent need to finish this. Just would like to have it off the needles, you know, just because then we can cast something else on. Where I've made my most progress is I'm making a sweater through a make-along on Ravelry from Casapinka. Casapinka is a designer who has a pretty good sense of humor. She's got a cat, Sharon from Security, that writes her patterns for her. So it's written in cat-ese sometimes. So they're pretty clever. So it's just another fun way to do the knitting. This is a sweater called No Need to Panic sweater. She wrote it for people that have done her shawls, her socks, all of her things that she's designed thus far, but yet haven't gone over that bridge into knitting a sweater. And it's nice that designers think of that, and I applaud her for that. I'm going to lose some things because of the wind here. A pair of socks has already flown my direction. It's nice that designers really take that into consideration and keep things simple and explain things, why you will need to change your needle size, not just switch to size 6 and then 2 instructions down, change back to size 4. She gives you an explanation for it. For example, this particular sweater, she says to increase, to use a bigger needle, and it's basically to go over the boob area without changing too much of your stitch size. So last week, I think I was just about here for the yoke. Let's see if I can get this up here. This is where I was last week, right up here, the top. I've made nice progress on this. Now, this is totally TV watching because it's in the round and it's stockinette. But it's looking like a sweater. I think I have maybe 2 more inches, maybe 1.5 inches. I'll need to try it on. But before I start the ribbing, and then I'm making this short sleeve. She has it written for short or long, but since this is wool and cotton, I wanted to have something for spring and summer and even into fall that is short sleeved. I've never made a short sleeve sweater. This is made out of Marisol Concha, and it's 50-50 merino lamb's wool and 50% cotton, and the color is Rosa de Lima. And you can see that there's the white cotton bound, spun pretty loosely with the lamb's wool. But when I did a swatch, I actually did one, it bloomed very nicely, and the fabric was very nice. So I'm looking forward, and I'm hoping that this would be a finished object by next time I record. I love the texture in this. I'm hoping that you can see that. Hello. A lot of texture in this. Some of the people are using different kinds of yarns than this. They're using more speckled, and so you can see the texture better. But this was in my stash and I really wanted to use it. And I thought this was a good choice. So that's close to getting finished. Very exciting. So I think that's all my on the needle works in progress that I have for this week. Did I do a new cast on? Of course. My son-in-law, he's a hardware store manager, assistant manager, and he has asked for some scarves because in the winter he's in and out of the building helping people, putting things in trucks and whatnot. So I started him a scarf. Now he doesn't like itchy things, so this might be a bad wool to use, but it's Briggs and Little. And this is the pattern. Hopefully you can see it. So it's a little interesting. It's just not plain old stockinette or... So I've gotten from one skein, I've gotten that. And then this is called Granite. And it's Briggs and Little Tuffy, which is 2-ply. And it's 80% wool, 20% nylon. So it's good for socks. And, when they throw it in the washer, it will probably felt a bit, but it won't fit a Barbie doll. So anyway, I'm working on that. It looks like I need to ball up that next skein. So that's my new cast on. There's obviously no hurry for that. They live in the Baltimore area, and it's hotter than Hades in the summer, so he's certainly not going to need that. So that's my new cast on this week. Again, most of my knitting, as you can see, has been the pink short sleeve sweater from Casapinka. I'm trying to stay up. Many people have already finished theirs. That's one of the reasons I'm not crazy about make-alongs unless they give me a longer window. But I'm trying to keep up with them. So. All right. This is a new segment of This Was My First Knit. I don't have my first knit any longer. How I started knitting was when I was 8, 9. My grandmother watched me during the summer when I was little. She was a first grade teacher and my mother had a 12-month job. So I stayed with my grandmother, who had the summers out of school. And we went to Stewartstown, Pennsylvania, to the dime store. I'm old enough to remember the 5 and dime. And they had all kinds of things that were magical in that 5 and dime. And one of the things that was in there was a beautiful knitting kit. And the kit it had some green wool, which was wool. I don't think it was pure wool, but there was definitely wool in it. Because when I did the hat, it was a little scratchy for an 8-year-old, but it was a kit for mittens, a scarf, and a hat. I still have the mittens. Well, actually, I don't. My kids do. And I told them, please don't destroy them. Don't throw them out because they're hysterical. That was the first project I ever did. I know. And they were wearable. That's what cracks me up. When I look back, I go, you know, they weren't bad. They had a simple, probably a 3x3 cable coming down the middle of it. Now, I don't know about you, but not many people start off with cabling, nor do they start off making mittens. Why didn't I knit the scarf first? That would make sense. No, that's not what I did. I made the mittens first, and I remember wearing them to school and out on the playground losing one of them because I'd gotten on monkey bars or something and put them in my pocket, my coat, took them off, and I was crying, you know, third grade girl, what can I say? And the teacher let me go back out, and I eventually found my mitten. But that's how I started knitting. Now, my grandmother probably thought, what on earth am I throwing this money away for? I don't know how much it was. I'm sure it wasn't a whole lot, but it was in a box and it had the whole instructions. I didn't do nothing about knitting. My grandmother crocheted, so I thought she could help me. She knew nothing about knitting as well. So I did this, and I did it on my own, and I eventually, I think the next project I did was the scarf, and then I did the hat. And all of these were on straight Susan Boy plastic needles. They were size 8. I still own them. And I had to sew the mittens together, and I had to sew the hat together. Not sure what happened to the hat. That's long gone. The scarf is long gone, but my kids still have the mittens, I hope. So that's how I started knitting. Tell me how you started knitting. Did somebody teach you? Were you lucky enough that you had a grandmother or mother or aunt that, you know, was a knitter? Or did you do like me and just kind of said, I can do that? Pretty funny story. So I'm going to show you the first socks I made. These were made in 2010. I did not knit. I knit a little. I knit a shawl for my junior or senior prom. I'm not sure which. It was a lace shawl, and I made it out of 100% cotton. Seriously. And I wore it, and it was beautiful. It was feather and fan, you know, long. And that was the last time I picked up needles until 2010, which between 1973 and 2010 was a long time. The reason that I took knitting back up at that point was that I had gotten viral pink eye. And if you've never had viral pink eye, consider yourself blessed. This eye is only 20/30. The cornea is damaged. This eye's 25/20 with glasses. This will always be my fuzzy eye. Viral pink eye. Pink eye to me is where you go. I mean, I have had pink eye working in the public schools. Do you know that I probably should have had just a prescription waiting for me each year at the Costco? And bacterial, you know, 3 or 4 days and you're back to normal. Viral is a different beast. There is no real cure except just letting it run its course. I was living in Baltimore at the time. I was working at Glenmar Elementary. Those of you that watch me from Essex, hi. And I actually got viral pink eye, probably from one of my children. I'd also attended a football game that weekend prior, so who knows. But I was off work because you're not allowed to work with kids when you've got this for about 6 weeks. I went to Wilmer Eye Institute at Johns Hopkins. They took pictures of my eye. I'm in some kind of paper. It was wild. Anyway, that's why I took up knitting, because when you have viral pink eye, you really can't see. I couldn't drive. I couldn't do anything but watch TV, and it was fuzzy. Before that, I was an avid cross stitcher, more so working with silks and linen, and I produced samplers. Some of them were my own design, some of them were reproductions of Quaker samplers and whatnot. I also quilted, but at that time I couldn't see good enough to do either of those. So I thought, okay, gonna order me some knitting needles and some yarn. So I did. I had a neighbor drive me to the local yarn store in Hamden, and I got some needles and I made a scarf. Just a simple scarf, just to get me back in the flow of things. And from there, I decided to get smart alecky and try to do a pair of socks. I still have these. This was my first sock. Do you remember that yarn? This is Croy's sock yarn, I think. It's huge. This is actually fingering weight. And I think I knit them on like 2s. I don't know why. But that's the first one. And the second one came out a little bit smaller, as you can see. They don't match. So those are the first socks that I ever made. And these are one of my most favorite socks when I'm just around the house. So that's my first pair of socks ever. And I'll show you, of course you saw my son-in-law's socks that I made to him. Before that, these are my last socks that I made. These are made with Desert Vista Dye Works, and I did an afterthought heel, my first afterthought heel ever, and I kind of liked it. And this is in her colorway, Oh Clark. It was a Christmas colorway for Christmas vacation. So that's my first and kind of my last, but I'm going to show you a few more. I don't know who the designer is, but here's some little mini cabled socks that I made. These all have been made since COVID, since we've been in the RV. This is some, again, I don't know colorways. I think this is from Lololdit yarn, sock yarn, which typically I love. This is something, I think they're called, these are actually on, I think they're called biscotti socks. These are actually on a Ravelry page. This is 100% merino, so they're not great for, but they have a little kind of cable look to them. And I love the yarn. And when I was casting on, I thought, oh, this is the wrong yarn to use, but I really like the yarn. This is a pair of socks I made with Earth socks, self-striping. And while I like the effect, I felt that the yarn itself was a little splitty, but I'd probably get it again. These are called Scatterly socks. Ugh. Just have enough to keep you from losing your mind. I personally like vanilla socks the best. These next ones are early on in our trip. I don't know what the yarn was, but it was like a sock yarn you can get at Michael's. Because by that time that I made those, it was evident that we were going to extend this trip a little longer than we had hoped. This pair of socks are my RBG socks, Ruth Bader Ginsburg. I was knitting these, and this is Lololdit sock set. I don't know the colorway, but when I heard of her death, this was supposed to match this heel. And I was crying so much I couldn't tell what I was doing, and I just kept knitting. So I kept it that way as a memento to her. Without Ruth Bader Ginsburg, I could not have had a home by myself. I could not have had a credit card. And she's my hero and always will be. So these are my RBG socks. This is another pair of socks. I think this is an Ella Ray. And I think these are the Hermione socks. I think that's a free pattern on Ravelry. It's like you slip one. I even forget how to do them. This has been over 2 years ago. These are one of my early ones. This is a pair of socks that I had tubed while we were in California. Somebody had a sock machine locally, and I had some sock yarn, and I said, I'm going to try this. And the lady misunderstood, and she put the heel in it and left the toe for me to do. So I'm not sure that's typical, but that's what she did. So I only really knit the toe of these. This is another early on our adventure tour. Again, these are like house socks. These are, I did these on, I think a size 2 needle because I wanted them to be chunkier, not really in the tennis shoe department. I don't even know what heel that is. Just followed a pattern because it'd been a while since I had done that kind of sock. This is Volmis yarn, which I adore. And if any of you have not used Volmis from Germany, you must. It is worth every penny. This was yarn that I had from 2010, 2011, that you'd have to stay up till 1 o'clock in the morning and keep pressing, and you get whatever color you got. This was a color that's not repeatable. But this is socks on a plain, free pattern on Ravelry. It's got the cable, 2 different sides of the feet. These are one of my favorite pairs of socks. These are socks that is Luette Gems sock yarn. Simple rib pattern. Nothing special. These are socks from, I think I got this sock yarn years ago. I don't even have a clue to who made it, but I have a pair of socks from it. And this is West Yorkshire Spinners yarn. And these I call my Miami socks. Not that you'd ever wear them in Miami. I guess some Floridians might. Anyway, that was the first thing I ever knitted sock-wise. I just wanted to show you my sock drawer. I hope you have a wonderful week. Enjoy whatever spring weather is coming your way. And knit happy. Bye.